So the contents of today's session are these four things. Firstly, a little bit about what UQ students need from our perspective, how the learning development team can meet this need. I'm going to show you who is currently using us and how they're benefiting from our services, and then talk a little bit about how you can make it easy for your students to engage with us for their benefit. All right, I'm going to start with a student voice. So I'm going to let you read a little excerpt from Wang Ting. So what we can see from this quotation is that this student was doing fine. She was doing fine. She got through her degree, and it wasn't until the third year in her final semester that she engaged with us. And she actually had an appointment with me. And at the end of the appointment, this is what she said. And she really regretted that she didn't know about us, that she hadn't used us, and that she struggled through her whole degree without getting some tips and tools to help her. So I thought this is a really nice quotation to start with, because it's inspiring for us all to kind of take a step back and go, do we want our students to be experiencing university like this, or would we rather that they have the skills that they need at the beginning of their journey? So a little bit about us. We, the learning advisors, are a multidisciplinary group of people. There are 5 of us, 4.6 FTE, and you can see on the screen there the different backgrounds that we have. So we all work with all learners across all faculties. We don't split into our own specialities, but we do have a maths and stats specialist, and that's David. So, and the rest of us work with everyone at all levels. Okay, so let's take us back to what we're doing here at UQ and what we're expecting our students to need and want. So this was an excerpt from the roadmap that came out last year in May. And there are a couple of things in here that I wanted to just point out, because learning advice is not mentioned specifically in this roadmap. But I just wanted to show you where it comes through in some of the things that they're talking about. So when we put students at the centre of our university, we're talking about personalised support. And they're also talking about this idea of students being able to discover, develop, make informed choices and develop their potential. They're connecting learning and wellbeing, which we all know is a very strong connection. And they're also talking about really clear access to administrative, but also learning support. And so this is where we can fit into this bigger picture. So again, what do students need? What is the data telling us? So I wasn't able to get data from this current year yet. It's coming out next week. So I'm looking at the data from the previous year, but I don't imagine it's changed too much. So the biggest challenges that we're seeing from first year students were academic workload and that transition from high school to university. And with continuing students, the biggest challenges are their academic skills development and balancing work, life, and study. So that tells us 3 things, I think. Firstly, that transition is an area that we need to put some emphasis and input. So adapting to study, this idea of self-directed learning and also online learning. The other key is self-management, and that consists of time, procrastination, study habits, study routines, as well as their motivation and life balance. And then the other space is the workload. So how do they deal with the volume and difficulty of their courses, and often the overwhelm that they experience during their courses? So I'm just going to show you again the words of a student, and we're going to look at those 3 pieces that overwhelm the balance of life and study and the academic skills development within this student's voice. I'll let you just read this. So it's quite a nice story, isn't it? So Farnaz Queet is or she's finished now, but she was doing a Master of Governments and Public Policy. And she was a AusAid scholar. So she was here on a scholarship. So a very high achieving student in a postgrad course. But we can see these different aspects, 1, 2, and 3. So we can see that she found the workload was overwhelming when she started. She was also talking about balancing her academic and social life. And by social life, that also included her family. And that she felt that she needed some input into managing time and improving her study habits. So really clearly, we can see all of those 3 things in this one student's experience. But the other thing is that she reached out to learning advisors and she started to enjoy her university experience, and she started to feel that she could experience it to the fullest. And I can share with you that she's just graduating this semester and she's got a GPA of 6.65 or something like that. So very successful student. So I'm showing you this because I think that we need to consider our students in that whole kind of that holistic cycle of what it means to be successful here. So I'm using Lizzio's 5 senses for success model. Some of you may be aware of this or be familiar with this, but it basically says that students need all of these 5 things in order to flourish at university. So if we think about the sense of culture, I mean, that's this idea of helping students to understand what a university is, what are the principles and values of a university. And we also need to make sure that they know how to navigate our systems and find the resources that they need. And also this idea of what is expected, so clarifying and providing opportunities for them to develop their skills and know what they need to do. So if we take this idea and we again look at how a student is experiencing this, I'm going to let you again just read this little excerpt from Gifang Lu. So I really like this because she's very honest in her feedback here. But if we look at how this can be applied to the 5 senses model, we can see there's a really clear crossover between what we're asking students to do and her experience here. So first of all, she says she feels, so this was after a session with a learning advisor, in this case it was me. She said to me that I feel free to explore and express myself. And I see this as meeting this idea of a sense of purpose. So it's been going beyond those kind of central 3, and it's giving her this idea of, oh, wow, I can express myself. And the second thing that we notice is she says she feels confident. So she's got this sense of capability now and supported. So I feel that this relates to this sense of connectedness, not only by me, but other tutors and peers, which is you. And then this is the really beautiful thing. She says this has been quite healing. And I see this as really kind of clicking into that sense of culture. So she knows she belongs at the university, and also the sense of resourcefulness. So the reason I'm telling you all of this is this message down the bottom, that I would like us to, and us being everyone at the university, normalise the use of learning development services, and knowing that all students can benefit from this, and it's not a remedial kind of support piece. Okay, again, some more student voice. I'm going to let you just read this and then we'll talk about what is here. So again, mature age student, grad cert in business. So there's a couple of things I'd like to unpack here. And the first one is this. She says she was walking past her room and she saw a sign saying learning advisor, and then she went in. So this was a chance encounter for her. She didn't know that we existed. Nobody had told her about us. And then she says, oh, look, assignments overwhelming. She didn't know how to approach it. So what we did together was we started to scaffold and break down the kind of pieces of the assignment, how to approach it, and how she could navigate that. And then look at this. if she hadn't seen a learning advisor, she may have failed. So she was feeling so low in confidence that she was almost ready to give up right early in her first semester. But in the end, she received sevens. So she was a high achieving student. She was petrified, and then she started to feel that she had some confidence and that she belonged at the university. So this is a really good example of having students hook into us early in their academic career and allowing them to thrive as a result of that. So I feel, and this is the reason I'm talking to you today, that this is our shared responsibility. So engaging students as active members of a learning community means more than just teaching them content in their courses. It's assisting them to manage the challenges of that university experience. And this is what we can see here in the Lizzio's 5 senses model. And that means encouraging help-seeking behaviour. So not for remedial, not when they fall behind, but right at the very beginning and throughout their learning experience. So my message super, super clearly is to normalise the use of learning development services for all students. It's for everybody. Okay, so a little bit about what we can offer and what students do with us and how they're benefiting. So again, I'm going to show you quite a bit of student voice with a bit of data. So who uses our services now? So this is a snapshot from this time, semester 1 last year. Again, this data is not available for this semester, this last semester, but it's very similar. So you can see that we work with one-on-one individual appointments with students at all ranges of GPA. This group could be new to UQ, but it also includes the HDR students. And we've got some that are kind of currently on that performance improvement plan. They're not quite succeeding. Those students who are passing, and then those that are succeeding. So they're at the top of the kind of GPA. So we get students from all groups coming to see us. So let's just look at how that kind of maps out by some of these other categories. So we can see it's mostly domestic, even though often people assume that it's more international. More women than men. I don't know why that is. I have some ideas, but nothing I can prove. It's pretty well spread across the age groups. You could say that that kind of more mature age student tends to seek us out more often, just based on the fact that there are more younger students, but not higher percentages, and the disabilities is not a strong indicator particularly. But if we look at the kinds of things we do with students at each of these kind of groups, it's kind of interesting to see. So the new to UQ, here's an example of something that was given, feedback that was given from a student in this category. So we can see that this student is really focused on that individual response. So someone who wanted to, who was able to give him some kind of personal support, I suppose, the tools, understand him and know what his individual situation required. Here's one from an HDR candidate. I really like that. It's a beautiful kind of metaphor, isn't it, for the help and assistance. If we look at the students who are in this PIP, Progress Improvement Plan category, it could be something like this. So this student here, you can see that they're struggling, and so the support that was given was some tips and techniques for them to be able to upskill. But also, the learning advisor was nice. So again, it's that sense of emotional support as well for someone who is lacking confidence. So the next level, the passing students, things like this. So again, it's kind of feeding into some techniques. So the students doing okay, but what else could they be doing in order to kind of lift their GPA and their understanding of their course material? And then the succeeding students. So you can see that these students tend to be already pretty good on top of what they need to do. And then there's just that little push that says, have you thought about this? Could you include that? And that's something that can then, help them to achieve at that next level. So it's all about confidence building. And what I'm showing you here is that we can have a positive impact on students right across that spectrum. I'll just show you a little bit. So we, as well as doing one-on-one appointments, we also offer workshops for students, and the workshops can be things on study skills, writing, time management, all sorts. I'll show you as we go what we do. And here's some of the kind of standard feedback that we've got from students attending workshops. And a few comments that I'll let you just read. So you can see that the students feel that they've benefited from attending. And I think this is kind of a summary of where I'm trying to take you prior to showing you what we can offer you for your students, is this idea of that a learning development model as opposed to kind of remedial support. So this idea that students have long-going learning needs and that we can always improve our learning. So a positive and inclusive approach to all students, not a remedial support approach. And this idea of a holistic and ongoing development for skills and learning, and dispersed responsibility. So that's you. So learning and skills development is a responsibility of all teaching staff, and of course at different scales of involvement. And that's where I'm taking you now. What can you actually do to help your students, to encourage your students to seek help and develop their skills, and to normalise the use of learning development services? So I'm going to show you 3 tools that we offer to you as teachers that you can embed or encourage your students to use. So first of all, we've got quite a few resources that you could include on your course Blackboard sites. So this is an example from the website here, which is basically, if you Google UQ time management, you'll get to these. So we've got this editable semester planner that you might have seen around campus. We also have that on a printed version. We've got editable weekly planners, and we've got to-do planners, things like that. So tools that you can easily just grab and put on your Blackboard site. We've got coaching videos around how to use those semester planners. So this one's starring me. Here's a link that takes you directly to that, and there's a direct YouTube link as well on these slides. This is about 3 minutes long, and it takes the students through a way to kind of set out their assessments in order to kind of plan their semester well. We've also got tips and tricks on our website that again can be downloaded from YouTube. So things around procrastination, time management, and these are all students talking to students. So it's all in the student voice. There's no kind of instructor here. And they're about 3 or 4 minutes. We've got what we call a Study Well, Feel Better series of videos. And these are all around helping students to actually increase their study skills in order to increase their enjoyment of university. And so again, these little videos you can take directly off YouTube, and you can embed in your Blackboard course, or you can show them in your class, and it's students talking to students. There's a little video again on the time management website, I think, that is talking about what learning at university is. So it's this transition. So this is for brand new students coming from high school. So if you're teaching a cohort like that, this is about 10 minutes, and it kind of gives them an overview of what it means to be a student at university, what kinds of things they need to upskill in, and then where they can find some help and advice around that. We've also got writing specific information on our website, and this is a really popular one. When we do the data analytics for the website, the How to Write a Literature Review always gets top hits. Again, little videos of students talking to students about how to do this. So it might be useful if you've got an assignment in your assignment rubric. You might want to link directly to this page in that rubric so that students can go and get some support around how to manage this type of genre. We do a whole lot of different workshops. So these are what I showed you the feedback from before. We've got a couple of different types, basically hitting on the key things that students need right at the beginning of semester. And then, so O Week and Connect Week are the kind of times when we do quite a few repetitions, but then we do others throughout the semester based on things like paraphrasing, writing research proposals, exam prep, etc. We offer a little bit of a kind of idea about if you want to upskill here, then do these kinds of things. So you might want to put something like this on your website too. So if students are thinking, okay, I need to develop my writing, which workshops should I go to? Then you can offer them something like this. We do multi-session programs as well. So some of these are full day, some are multi-day. For example, the Skills to Study Writing, that's across 3 days, but it's 2 hours each day in the morning. So, and so it allows us to kind of take a deeper dive into some of these skills as opposed to just a 160-minute one-off workshop. So again, you can find the links to that. Please add that to your Blackboard site or let students know that these are available. In order to find these workshops, you can do it in a couple of ways. Students can go via Student Hub and use the keyword academic, and then you'll get a list of everything that's coming up and a booking list as well. We also do writing drop-ins in the library. So from week 5, a learning advisor or 2 will be in the central library and students should just bring their drafts in. So if you let students know about that and recommend that they go, it depends on how many we get, but they could have a 10 minutes or they could have half an hour, depending on how many students are there. And it's an opportunity for them to bring a draft or ask questions about referencing or whatever it is that they would like to do without having an appointment. Obviously, we talked about individual appointments. They're bookable, 60-minute or 30-minute appointments available throughout the whole semester. And here is a little bit of feedback on appointments. This one came through to me just a couple of weeks ago, so I'll let you just read that. So the first time I saw Jodie was early in the semester, and she had received a pass for her abstract introduction, and she was most upset. And we had, I think, a total of 3 appointments across the semester, and you can see for yourself what the outcome is. So she wrote that to me in an email to just say, wow, isn't this fabulous? Okay, so what are the next steps? So I'm requesting and inviting you to promote learning development and services and resources to your students. So you could do it at your orientation, your program orientation or your course orientation. You can do it on your course Blackboard site, in your conversations with students, on your discussion board. You can upload our YouTube videos and you can share the time management templates. And I'm going to give you some promotional materials at the end of this that are all kind of marketing certified that you can use. So the idea is that you encourage your students to seek help to develop their skills, that we normalise the use of learning development resources, and that we know and understand that all students, no matter what level, who access support do better at university. And I'm going to leave the last word to a student, of course. I'll let you just read that. So the thing I want to pull out here is this idea that having a one-on-one appointment, discussing an assignment, gave her some energy to keep going and to dive into weeks 5 and 6. So she felt that the learning advice support she received was complementing her course content, and she told her lecturer so, who then passed that on to us. So I think that's a really nice way to kind of leave it. Okay, so thank you for listening. And I can see at the back here are all of the tiles that you might want to use that you can add to your Blackboard site as promo. Okay, thank you. Are there any questions? I think we have a couple of minutes if anyone would like to ask any questions.
Can I ask a question?
Sure, please do.
I was just wondering, with the new indigenising of the curriculum across the faculties, if you have a specific learning advisor who's going to help assist with the changes in the curriculum.
We don't, because we're a small team of 4.6. However, one of our learning advisors, Eva King, has been working with the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander unit for quite a while, and she does some of the away kind of camps with them. And so she would be our kind of go-to once we start to focus on that. But because we're such a small team, we don't have a lot of resources, we haven't really taken many steps in that direction yet.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
It's on the radar.
Could I ask, Cherie, thank you for that. How, like you just said, you're a really small team. How much availability do you have with bookings and stuff?
Yeah, so availability is, I think we're about a 3-week waiting list at the beginning of semester. So we often encourage students to book in advance. So, for example, if they're thinking about getting help with their first assignment, we'd try and get them to book now for, 3 weeks down the track when they're starting to think of it. But for the workshops and things that we offer and all of the online resources, obviously they're open to everyone, and a lot of the workshops are online, so that means that we can accommodate hundreds of students. So this is the reason that we've created a lot of these YouTube videos, and that we're kind of encouraging you to share them, and some of the access to the website as well, so that we're not relying solely on individual appointments.
Yeah, awesome. Will we get emailed these slides later?
Karen, is that a question for you?
Yes. So no, we'll if you share that back with us, Cherie, then we will send it out with when we'll send the slides out along with the recording links and things like that. So
the slides are just there. The slides at the back here are just standard app space slides. So you may see them around campus on some of the screens. But you can just download them directly from the PowerPoint.
Can you, I think some of those links would be, remember since you talked about the program planners, if you wanted to pop that actual link in I tried to copy and paste it into the chat, but that might be useful for everybody as well.
Okay, what I will do actually is put in what you can Google. If you Google, because Googling seems to be the way to go, I think, at UQ. If you put in UQ time management into Google, that will bring up our time management and procrastination area of our website, and then all of the related videos, links, and planners, everything is on that site.
Okay. And we've also, I've released a poll that should be sitting there somewhere in front of you. So if you wanted to pop into that, the people who attended, that would be excellent. We're always looking for feedback for these sessions. My feedback, Cherie, is that was awesome. Thank you very much.